Shalawama, I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. This is part three of the and probably the last article that I'm going to read on the Sabbath, okay? So this is the Sabbath part 3. This article comes from the University of Chicago, okay? It comes from the University of Chicago. I'm going to read through it. I'm going to try to minimize my commentary on it. I'll probably look up some words so that everything is clear. And other than that, if I feel like saying something, I will, but if not, I won't. If you want to come into the classroom, you're welcome to click the link. It's in the comment box, okay? Excuse me, so I'm going to get started. So I'm going to turn my camera off and share my screen. Okay. I'm going to have to get something to drink. Hold on a second. I'm going to turn my camera off and pull up the document and get you oriented to the document. Let me pull it up real fast and show you where this article comes from. Now, the purpose of this video is so that we can have enough information to return to the Most High. I'll show you the Bible verse, okay? So if you look here at the highlighted portion, you'll see here in the address window, you see where it says journals.chicago.edu. This is the University of Chicago, okay? So this is a University of Chicago journal. The title of the article is The Origin of the Hebrew Sabbath by Reverend J.T. Nichols. And it was written, I think this says in Olympia, Washington. So give me 1 second, I'll get started. I need to drink something real quick. Give me one moment. Okay. So if you want to come into the classroom, that's fine. I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I'm personally inviting you to come to the Curses course. I teach it every Saturday at 9 a.m. That's 9 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. Everybody's welcome to come. You can come for 2 free classes, and you don't have to buy anything. You're going to learn a tremendous amount, okay? And people come into the class and they say the class changes their life for the better, not only with just the scriptures, but also outside of their life. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If you have any questions about, as a matter of fact, let me put the link of this article in the chat real quick. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to put this link in the chat in case anybody wants to find this article. Give me 1 second. So link to article. It's in the chat now, okay? So y'all can follow up with this article if you want it. And by the way, like and share the video, and I would really appreciate it if you would also subscribe to the channel if you have not. But like and share the video because it helps to get this information to our people. So let's go over a few verses, in fact, before we get started, all right? So you can see why this is so important. So let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. I don't know how many people only go with the King James or only trust KJV. So let's do this with KJV. Or better yet, let's do it with the Bible Hub, okay? So we can get a really, really good comparative analysis on this. So we're in Deuteronomy chapter 30. Say Bible Hub, in the Bible Hub, okay? So Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 in the Bible Hub. Okay, so the Bible Hub is an online tool that provides the translations coming from many different versions of the Bible. Okay, from many versions of the Bible. And you can see how their translation team translated a particular verse or word, and then you can compare. Okay, so we use this all the time in Zion Law School. So let's begin with the New International Version. This is Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1. And if you want to come into the classroom, you're welcome. You can participate, you can read, ask questions, you do everything. Okay, so this is the New International Version. It says here, when all these blessings and curses I have set before you, where did he set them before you? Deuteronomy chapter 28, right? When all these blessings and curses that I have set before you, that's in Deuteronomy chapter 28. When all these blessings and curses that I've set before you come on you, so that means we will have experienced we will as a nation experience the curses and the blessings, okay? We will have experienced these things, okay? So what's last? The curses, and we're already in the curses, right? We're in the curses now. So when all these blessings and curses I have set before you come on you, and you take them to heart, wherever the Most High, your power, disperses you among the nations. Okay, now let's look at the New Living Translation. In the future, this was being told to Moses and our ancestors at that time, right? So in the future, when you experience, y'all see that? When you experience, so that gives us confirmation of what I just said a minute ago. When you experience all these blessings and curses I have listed for you, so blessings could have been what? Solomon, King David, so on and so forth. And the curses, right? The captivity. Okay, I have listed in Deuteronomy chapter 28. And when you are living among the nations to which the Most High, your power, has exiled you. Okay, so this is a future time, right? This applies to us. Then it says what? Take to heart all these instructions. Take to heart all these instructions. What does that mean? It means learn and study, right? So you're going to have to learn and study the blessings and the curses and what? The Decalogue, right? The commandments, the 10 commandments. Okay, now let's take a look at the English Standard Version. Okay, here it says, and you call them to mind. See, how are you going to call them to mind if you're not introduced to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and then you begin to study Deuteronomy chapter 28 and the commandments, right? Because it's a contract. I showed that last class. All right. Okay, so let's see if we find anything else interesting before we move on. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead to verse 2, okay? So here we are. Let's look at the Christian Standard Bible. It says, when all these things have happened to you, the blessings and the curses I have set before you, and you come to your senses. So in other words, these curses are going to be so extreme. It's going to be the same thing as a drug addict or, whatever, alcoholic, whatever, any type of addict who reaches skid row, right? Life becomes so difficult where they finally decide, hey, you know what? I want to turn my life around. This is what the Most High is saying to us. And when you come to your senses, while you are in the nations where the Most High, your power, has driven you, right? How are we going to come to our senses? We learn the contract, right? We learn what they really mean, which means that we have to learn what? We have to learn the lies. We have to become aware of the lies that we've been taught that put us and kept us in the curses, okay? All right, so let's go to verse 2. Okay, now remember what we're doing. We're determining why it's important to find this information out. So verse 2, and I'm going to show you the redemption clause. Okay, and here it is, Deuteronomy. So redemption clause is contract talk, right? We're dealing with a covenant. The covenant culturally for us is you make an agreement, and if one part, and then there's an animal that's killed, and the body parts are cut and spread apart, and both parties walk through it, and there's an agreement that whoever breaks that agreement, the same thing that happened to the animal will happen to them. In modern days, we call this a contract. Okay, so this is contract. Okay, so now let's look at, and this is the redemption clause. Okay, notice the New International Version. It says here, and when you and your children return. So see, verse 1 was talking about what? Learning Deuteronomy chapter 28, learning the blessings and learning the curses. And remember, the sign is in Deuteronomy chapter 28. The sign that identifies the house of Yasharallah is in Deuteronomy chapter 28. So you have to know that in order to what? To be able to know that you're Yasharallah, because that's a sign. All of this DNA evidence doesn't matter. All of the secular historical stuff doesn't matter. The Most High said that the sign is Deuteronomy chapter 28, the curses. Okay, all that other stuff is secondary stuff. Okay, the primary or the really the only thing that should matter to us is these signs. Okay, but anyway, the New International Version here says, and when you and your children return to the Most High your power and obey him. Okay, that means follow his instructions. Okay, the instructions are what? The commandments. Okay, and obey him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. This means wholeheartedly and sincerely, without what? Without some type of bad motive. Okay. All right. According to everything I command you today. So this is everything that he was commanded, that was commanded through Moses. Right? What does today mean? Today means before tomorrow. Today means now. There is no past. There is no future, right? There is only now or today. Okay, so the Most High said, what I'm saying through Moses, or instructing or commanding through Moses, this is what we're talking about. So here again it says, and when you and your children return to the Most High and follow all of his instructions with sincerity, okay, according to all that I command you, or all that I commanded Moses, not Isaiah, not Jeremiah, not Adam, not Abraham, so on and so forth. Okay, now let's look at the New Living Translation. It says, if you have a personal choice, you have a choice. If at that time you and your children, return to the Most High your power. So the Most High is not forcing us. The whole idea is for us to want to get the blessings, right? That's the whole idea, for us to want to get the blessings according to the contract, okay? And then if you want those blessings, if you want your own land, if you want the extreme wealth, if you want to live in peace, if you want to have everything that's listed in the blessings, then you'll follow the Most High's instructions with sincerity, wholeheartedly, right? That's what returning to the Most High is, according to the contract, okay? And then it continues to say, and you obey, so on and so forth. Okay, so now let's go down. Let's do King James, right? Because some people only want King James. Okay, so King James Bible, and shalt return unto the Most High thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all I command thee this day. See, what was told to Moses, not something said in the past, and not some law or so-called commandment in the future from somebody else other than Moses. Thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thine soul. Okay, the New King James Version says, and you will return to the Most High your power and obey his voice according to all I command you today. Right? Again, that's all that was commanded through Moses, the instructions, you and your children with all your heart and with all your soul. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's go to verse 3. Okay, so we're talking about the what? The condition of return. There's only two options. You can continue to not obey the Most High's voice, right? Or you can return. Those are the two options. So let's go back and, where's the verse? Oh, here we are. All right, so now let's go to verse 3. So the topic is the return. If you will return, you and your children, maybe you will, maybe you won't, right? It's our choice. Now let's go to Deuteronomy 3 so we can get confirmation that this is the redemption clause. Okay, so if we return by following the Most High's instructions that he gave Moses, here's confirmation of the redemption clause. New International Version. Then the Most High, your power, will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where he has scattered you. So this is a restoration, right, or redemption. Okay, now let's go down and look at the KJV. King James, it says, then the Most High, thy power, will turn thy captivity and have compassion on thee and will return and gather thee from all nations, whether the Most High has scattered thee. Okay, the next KJV, then the Most High, your power, will bring you back from captivity and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where the Most High, your power, has scattered you. All right, so we see here that in order to be restored to our land, the condition is we have to start following his instructions, right? Okay, now let's look at the Amplified Bible right here. Then the Most High, your power, will restore your fortunes. Now this is land, wealth, and heritage. In return from exile, and have compassion on you and will gather you together again from all the peoples or nations where he has scattered you. Now notice you didn't see anything about end time prophecy, right? This is just a matter of us doing what the Most High tells us to do. Now next, let's look at Jeremiah 8:8. We also went through this last time. So we're establishing why it's important to go through this information about the Sabbath. This is not to hurt anybody's feelings. This is to help us return. Whatever decision you make, that's your personal decision, has nothing to do with anybody but you and the Most High, right? All right, Jeremiah 8:8. I prefer the, hold on, let me get a different, is this the Bible Hub? Yeah, let me go to the Bible Hub. So this is Jeremiah 8:8. I prefer the Amplified Bible, okay? It says, how can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us and we are learned in its language and teachings? Behold, the truth is that the lying pen of the scribes has made the law into a lie. And then it continues. So what is this telling us? The scribes, what? Wrote lies in the law. So we need to check the law to identify those lies and then exclude them. Everybody, I hope everyone understands that. Okay, so now that is the basis of that. So now let's go back to the article. I hope everybody sees that. And, you know, it is what it is. We just need to identify these Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences and make a personal decision as to how we're going to deal with it, okay? What anybody does is their business. It's not mine, and it's not my place to tell anybody what to think or what to do because I'm not a religious leader. I'm an educator, entrepreneur, and I want to teach you to help you return to the Most High, but you have to make your own decisions, okay? All right. So I think most people appreciate that. So now let's get into the article, okay? Now this comes from the University of Chicago. The link to the article is in the comments section. The title is The Origin of the Hebrew Sabbath by Reverend J.T. Nichols, written in Olympia, Washington. Okay. So let's read through it. If anybody wants to come in and share the reading with me, that's fine. Ask questions, answer questions. Okay, let's do it. So here we are. The important place the Sabbath holds in our society and religious life, and the present interest in the subject furnish a significant warrant for any investigation into the origin of this ancient institution. Yet weightier reasons are found in the recent progress in Old Testament study and the discovery of Babylonian inscriptions bearing on this question. So this is saying that they found Babylonian artifacts that have to do with the Sabbath. Let's continue with the article. I wish to consider the origin of the Sabbath with special reference to the new light. Okay, so the author is telling us what this article is about. I wish to consider the origin of the Sabbath with special reference to new light thrown on the subject by the observances of ancient Babylonians on the seventh day, as revealed by the newly discovered Elul calendar. Okay, so we read about this last week, right? We know that the Babylonians celebrated a Sabbath on the seventh day. Okay, now let me stop here and go back to a web page. So the Babylonians celebrated a Sabbath. Okay, now for us, it's important for us to what? Do not, can anybody finish that? Do not what? Do not follow the practices or the traditions of the nations, right? So let's pull that verse up. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. Let's see. This is Deuteronomy 18:9. Let's look at the Living Translation. When you enter the land the Most High your power is giving you, be very careful not to imitate the detestable customs of the nations living there. Okay, so what are customs? Let's look up customs. This is the whole point of us doing this article, right? I don't benefit anything by doing an article on Sabbath because most people will get upset about the information. It doesn't benefit me at all. In fact, it probably does me more damage to bring this information out, okay? So let me read this. I don't have anything to gain by doing this other than providing our people the information so that they can return to the Most High, okay? So here, it's custom without the S. Custom, the meaning of custom is, okay, custom is a noun. The first meaning is a traditional and widely accepted way of behaving or doing something that is specific to a particular society, place, or time. Tradition, similar words are tradition, practice, observance, way. Okay, so the second definition is British, and I'm looking at it, it doesn't apply. All right, so this is telling us we should not practice what the traditions or practices of the nations. So let's go back to our article. Uh-oh, give me 1 second. I want to read it from the PDF because it's bigger on the screen. If y'all have any questions, put them in the chat. I can't say when I will respond to it because it's a little bit difficult for me to follow the chat. And okay, Barbara, you can come in. You don't have to be seen on the camera. That's fine. Okay, so if y'all want to comment or something, I'll try to follow along on the by reading the comments, but I can't guarantee it, because it's hard for me to do so much at one time. Okay, so let's start back here. I wish to consider the origins of the Sabbath with special reference to the new light thrown on the subject by the observance of the ancient Babylonians on the seventh day, as revealed by the newly discovered Elul calendar. Next paragraph. When we approach the question of the origin of Sabbath from the side of the external history, see, not what's in the Bible, but external history, we find much to prove its existence at earliest times of which we have any record. So this is saying that the historical record shows that the Sabbath is very ancient, right? Okay, so next paragraph. The week of 6 days with the seventh day of rest intervening now prevails as a measure of time over most of the world. It is found in all Christian and Mohammedan regions and in India. The most notable exceptions are China and Japan, which have divisions of 10 days. Most Christian nations have received the Sabbath and also the week, along with Christianity, but not all. The Germans used the weekly division of time before they received Christianity, getting it probably from the Romans. Our week, then, has its origin in two different lines. One line from Christianity and the other line from the Romans, who got it at a time not far from the beginning of the Christian era, from the Eastern astrologers and Jews. From the Eastern astrologers and Jews. Okay, why should there be a similarity between the Eastern astrologers and Jews? See, your antenna should go up, right? You should become very suspicious now. This ancient astrology had its seat in Southwestern Asia. This ancient astrology had its seat in Southwestern Asia. Both lines, then, from which our Sabbath has its origin, lead us back to the Semitic nations as the source of this institution. Barbara, are you in?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, all right. You can add your microphone, Barbara, if you want to talk or participate in reading. Welcome, Barbara. It's good to see you again. Okay, so let's continue with the next paragraph. Outside of these nations, we find few indications of a week of 7 days which did not have its origin within them. Okay, very few nations have a Sabbath that doesn't originate with the Southeastern astrologers or with Jews. Okay, we have noticed already that India had such a division of time, but this is probably delivered from the Arabs or Mohammedans. The Chinese and Japanese, though they have no 7-day week, hold the 1st, 15th, and 28th days of their lunar month in special esteem. So that's the moon, right? This, however, as we shall see later, can be explained in a natural way. Now let's go back up here and look at these footnotes that I passed over. I'm right here. I'm not going to read it out loud. I don't know if it's significant, but y'all can read along with me. Okay, so that's a source citation. Okay, so here we see a source citation, right? That's Encyclopedia Britannica and some other things. So, okay, y'all can follow up on that. I'm here now. Okay, so I think I should read this, okay? So this is the author's intention. So I'll go ahead and read this, okay? This is the author's intention. It's always good to know the author's intention, A lot of times they won't tell you. You got to figure it out. Okay, so here he says it. Okay, so though I recognize the Sabbath as a divine institution, so he keeps the Sabbath, at least he recognizes it, that he should, yet in its development, so what does yet mean? Yet in its development, human agency has been employed. So now let's go back and look up yet, okay, so we can be thorough. Very important to be thorough. So now let's look up yet, meaning of yet, even though most people think they know what it means. Let's see what it means. Yet, okay, so as an adverb, up until the present or a specified or implied time, by now or by then, second meaning as an adverb, still even, okay, used to emphasize or increase or repetition, now conjunction. Okay, this is what we're looking at, a conjunction, right? But at the same time, but nevertheless. So let's go back to the article. Uh-oh. Oh, y'all didn't see that. Let me go back. Okay, I thought I was showing the screen. Okay, so let's go back. So here's yet. Okay, yet is an adverb. I just read through that, the meanings. I won't reread it, but it's a conjunction. Yet is also a conjunction. I'll go ahead and reread the conjunction meaning here. Okay, it says, but at the same time, but nonetheless. Okay, now let's go back to the article. All right. So though I recognize the Sabbath as a divine institution, but nonetheless, in its development, human agency is employed. Okay, so this is saying that according to this author, from his historical research, Sabbath didn't come from the Most High, it came from men. Okay, based upon his research. So, while not forgetting the hand of the Most High, which is working in all the affairs of men, I intend to confine myself in the following discussion to the origin of the Sabbath viewed from the human standpoint only. Okay. All right. So now let's go back. So it's very important to always read footnotes. Okay. Okay, I think we read this. No, we didn't read this. So here we are. So we're here, we're in this paragraph. Among the Semitic nations, we find the week observed by the Egyptians and the Ishmaelites. The Ashantis and Gullahs of Africa seem to have had the week from a very early time. The nation where we find, aside from the Hebrews, most clear evidence, not only of a week, but also of a Sabbath is Babylon. Babylon. We find that among these people, as among the Israelites, the number 7 was especially prominent and sacred. Thus, 7 is the number of the spirits who come from the depths. The number of the knots tied by the women who sit by the bedside of their husbands to conjure the evil spirits is 7, or twice 7. Week means the city of 7 spheres. The mystical serpent mentioned in their hymns has 7 heads, and the sacred tree has 7 branches. There were 7 gates to the lower world. 7 or 14 deities, that's lowercase God, are mentioned frequently. The evil spirits are 7. Cleansing or sprinklings were repeated 7 times. 7 planets were recognized, studied, and held to be among the deities, lowercase God. Okay. Furthermore, okay, so, oh, this is very interesting. The ancient Peruvians also seem to have had a 7-day work week. Peruvians is very important, right? Furthermore, upon the Babylonian monuments recently discovered, mention is made of a week of 7 days ending with a 7th day on which no work was to be done or sacrifice offered. So in Babylon, they had the same Sabbath and no work was to be done and there was no sacrifice to be offered. This is the Babylonian Sabbath. This seventh day was a day of rest. So they also rested on that seventh day, and abstinence from usual employments. Okay, this sounds familiar, doesn't it? This is shown by the registered tablet of the intercalary month of Elul. We read that the 7th, 14th, 19th, 21st, and 28th days were Sabbaths. Directions are given in this tablet for the observance of the day by the ruler of the great nations. He must not eat certain kinds of food, nor change his garment, nor offer sacrifices. So too, the riding on a chariot and issuing of royal decrees was forbidden. It was not proper then for one to curse or an augur to mutter his divinations. This tablet shows us only the nature of these Sabbaths as kept by the king and priests. So now we see we're talking religion, right? And deities. We see priests, right? So this is a acknowledgement of some deities, their Sabbath. So what does this call to mind? We have to go back, right? We have to look at the 10 Commandments. We go to Exodus chapter 20. Okay, so let's go to KJV. All right, so Exodus chapter 20, this is the 10 Commandments. This is the King James Version. We look at verse 2. Well, let's start with verse 1. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words. Now the Most High spake all of these words. I am the Most High, your power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So Egypt is a house of bondage, right? Thou shalt have no other powers before me. Y'all see that? Thou shalt have no other powers, no other deities, or no deity before me. So if this Babylonian Sabbath is something that the priest and the king does, we know we're talking about what? Deities, okay, powers. 4, you shall not make, or thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the waters underneath the earth, okay? Now notice 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. So when you recognize, so this Babylonian, if our brothers in Babylon or our ancestors who were in Babylon, if they followed that Babylonian Sabbath, they would be actually what? Serving those deities, right? That's serving those deities or worshiping those deities. Same applies today. For I am the Most High, your power, for I am the Most High, your power, a jealous power, visiting the inequity upon fathers, upon children, and upon the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me. So that's why this is so, oh, y'all didn't get to see that. Okay, so let me go back. Oh boy. Okay, so here we are. This is Exodus chapter 20. Okay, KJV, King James Version, verse 1. I read from here. So I'll let the screen pause here for a second and y'all can read that. And then I'll go back to the article. Okay, so you'll read from here to here.
I have a question.
Here's where it says, don't serve them. So serving would be what? Participating in the Babylonian Sabbath. So our ancestors who were in Babylon at that time, if they participated in that Sabbath, they would actually be serving those deities. Okay, so here it says, don't bring another power before my face. All right. So that should be pretty straightforward. If anybody has any questions, put it in the comments, okay? All right, so let's go back. We were somewhere around here. Okay, this tablet shows us only the nature of these Sabbaths as kept by the king and priest. So we're talking about deities, right? Powers. But it is not probable that a similar, though perhaps not so strict, a Sabbath was observed by the citizens. Okay, so this is saying that it probably wasn't the whole nation who acknowledged the Sabbath. It was only the king and the priests who acknowledged the Sabbath. Okay, we'll start here. We cannot but notice how much this Sabbath of the Babylonians resembled the Hebrew Sabbath of the Levitical law. Let's go down and look at the footnote. Because so here's your citation, right? And I'm not going to go through it. I'll let this stay here for a second so y'all can see these citations and you can look them up yourself. So I'll give it a few seconds. Now you can also pause the video when you watch this again. You should actually watch this again at least 2 or 3 times, okay? Because repetition is what makes things, it helps to grow your neural networks so that you can convert a short-term memory into a long-term memory, okay? That's what we do. That's why repetition is so important. Okay, it's actually a physical event that takes place. You actually grow neurons.
Wow.
Short-term memory is just a biochemical reaction. Long-term memory is the process of growing, literally growing neurons and making physical connections, okay? All right, that's why they're long-term memories, okay? All right, so let's continue. We cannot but notice how much this Sabbath of the Babylonians resembled the Hebrew Sabbath of the Levitical law. We notice also that the word for Sabbath in the form Sabbatu was known to the Assyrians. So we're talking about the Babylonians and the Assyrians, and is explained as meaning a day of rest for the heart. The Babylonian day of rest differs from the Hebrew in not being always on the 7th day, for their lunar month followed the moon. And as the full lunar month has from 29 to 30 days, the last week must be 8 or 9 days long. Moreover, there is the unaccountable observance of the 19th day as a Sabbath in the same way as the 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th. Notwithstanding these differences, this calendar shows that the Sabbaths, similar to that of the Hebrews, was known to the Assyrians and the Babylonians. Okay, so now the Babylonians had their Sabbath as well as the Assyrians had their Sabbaths, okay? And they were doing it the Babylonians were doing it according to the moon, all right? So Hebrew, Israelite, Christian, Islamic organizations, churches, camps, whatever, whomever, who are calculating the Sabbath by the sliver of the moon or some other aspect of the moon, you can see where that comes from, okay, whether they know it or not. Whence did the Babylonian week and Sabbath arise? So what's the historical origin? When did it happen? If we can answer this question, we shall then perhaps be able to get nearer to the origin of the Hebrew Sabbath. Well, that makes sense, right? An examination of the Elul calendar mentioned above shows that the word used for unlawful day, dies nefastas, is Akkadian. Akkadian, so okay, Akkadian. The occurrence of this and many other expressions and technical phrases shows that this calendar was Akkadian in origin. So the Babylonians borrowed it, right? They got it from somebody else. Okay. In the word of sais, it was borrowed by the Semites along with the rest of the old Turanium theology and science. Y'all see that? Theology, that's religion. Okay. That's religion. You're talking Judaism. That's religion. Okay. Let's continue. The original text must have been inscribed at some time before. The original text must have been inscribed at some time before the 17th century BC. Before the 7th century BCE. Y'all see that? When the Akkadian language seems to have become extinct. If this is true, we have traced the Sabbath to its source among the nations of Southwestern Asia. From the Akkadians, it was passed on to their successors, the Babylonians, and was carried also from Acadia by Nahor and his descendants to Palestine. Okay, so now we're at the source of it. The original question of this seventh-day division of time among the Akkadians now meets us. If it was not derived from astrology, where did it arise? The earliest and most natural division of time amongst all nations has been the lunar month. Okay, so the issue is, did this come from astrology or did it come from some natural thing that made life easier, such as the lunar month? So let's continue. This has preceded the year, and it is a natural supposition that the week arose from a division of the lunar month. Okay, so they're saying that this makes common sense that a week arose when you track or trace the month over the span of 30 days, right? Or a month, however you define the month. Okay, so let's continue. We know that the ancient Akkadians were worshipers of the moon. Oh, now see, we're talking about deities, which means that this is extremely important to come to the bottom of this issue about the Sabbath, because this has to do with the very first commandment: don't bring another power before my face. Okay. We know that the ancient Akkadians were worshipers of the moon. And Shalom, Carol, nice to see you here. You're welcome to share in the reading or ask questions or whatever. Unmute your microphone. And the new and full moons were observed as festivals. Well, the evidence is mounting, right? It was religious, and they did this worshiping of the new and full moons as festivals. Let me see. Shalom, Carol. Unmute your microphone if you want to say anything or participate. You too, Barbara. Let me show the article again. So let's continue. Don't be shy, y'all. All right.
Okay, am I unmuted now?
So here we are. We're here. These festivals made two natural divisions of the month of about 14 days in length. Convenience and ease in reckoning would call for a shorter division. And what would be more natural than that each of these two divisions of 14 days should be divided into two smaller sections of 7 days, each marked by the quarters of the moon. Okay, well, that makes sense, right? That makes perfect sense. Okay, we'll start here. A difficulty with this division of the month into 4 weeks of 7 days each will naturally suggest itself. The average month has 29 and a half days, so that in this division, 1½ days would remain on the average after the 4 weeks in every month. In order to make the new moon conform with the beginning of the week and month, the length of the weeks would have to be varied. 3 out of every 8 being 8 days long, okay? Such a course would be in harmony with their method, reckoning, as we see from their practice of intercalculating a month when necessary to make the lunar months correspond with the yearly seasons, okay? I see that. It seems probable, however, that the conformity of the week and month was brought about in another way. With their imperfect knowledge of astrology, now that's kind of hard to believe. Now this right here, I question this, okay? They had an imperfect knowledge of astrology. First of all, why do you say that? And then those ancient peoples, they had an excellent understanding of astrology. So I question this. With their imperfect knowledge of astrology, it would have been impossible for these early people to know beforehand on which of 2 days the new moon would be first observed. So the festival of the new moon would be extended over 2 days. Let me say something about this. When you see this type of thinking, and what I mean by that is early people, and they were somehow less sophisticated, they had less knowledge, poor technology, or less advanced technology. This is part of, in my estimation, the whole white supremacy thing, right? Where there's evolution, and over time, organisms get better, they improve, right? They develop better technology and so forth. That's the only way that the troglodyte, the hybrid troglodyte nigger who classifies itself as white, that's the only way that they can say that they're better than you or more advanced than you to justify white supremacy and their entire social structure. I hope everybody sees that. The fact of the matter is that the ancient people had far more advanced technology than that exists today. Okay, now that's just the absolute fact. Just look at the monuments, okay, and the things that they were able to build. Okay, so don't believe this. Always beware of stuff like this. Okay, always beware of that. Okay, because it's so subtle and subliminal that you could actually be hypnotized into believing this stuff, okay? Because it's so subtle, but this is their worldview. This is what they need in order to keep us down, okay? And to lift themselves up, okay? Because genetically, we are superior to them. And you can take that and do whatever you want with it. Okay, so the festival of the new moon would be extended over 2 days, okay? Then 1 Samuel 20:27 is cited, where the new moon of the 2nd day is spoken of. Okay, and then it's Judith 8:6. Okay, if this was the case, there would be 1 week of 8 days and 2 months. All right, so let's continue. The theory of an intimate connection of the moon. So the theory, so now remember, a theory is what? A theory is somebody's best guess, right? Somebody's best guess. And in academia, they follow it up with some things that they call science, okay? All right, the theory of an intimate connection of the moon with the religious observance of the ancestors of the Hebrews and its connections, especially with the Sabbath, gives a meaning and force to many of the passages in the Bible referring to the observance of the moon. Everybody see that? That's an important sentence. The theory of an intimate connection of the moon with the notice religion, right? Religious observances of the ancestors. See that? Ancestors, right? Those are people before, not present, right? Of the ancestors of the Hebrews and its connection, especially with the Sabbath, gives a meaning and force to the many passages in the Bible referring to the observance of the moon. This is getting good now, right? The many places where new moons and Sabbaths are mentioned together would suggest, if there were no other reasons, that the Sabbaths and the course of the moon had at some time a very close connection. That the new moon was observed as a festival among the Hebrews is shown by many passages. It was observed by feasting and ceremonial cleanliness or cleanness. Okay, and then they're citing 1 Samuel 20. Okay, the new and full moons were greeted with blasts from trumpets. This is quoting Psalms 81:3, Numbers 10:10. There were special offerings for these days, Numbers 28:11, Ezekiel 46, verse 6. The time of the new moon was an occasion for special events, quoting Exodus or citing Exodus chapter 42 and 7, Numbers 1, chapter 1, 18 and 29. Numbers 1, verse 18, and it looks like chapter 29, verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 3. It has special connection in the thought and religious observances of the Hebrews with Sabbaths. Okay, so I'll give you all a homework assignment, research what this is, and then think about how this applies to our ancient ancestors, okay, relative to what was happening in Babylon, okay, and also today, all right? Okay, and they shot a whole bunch of scriptures, so I'll let the video pause for a minute here because I don't feel like reading all of those. Okay, so you can look these up on your own time at your second go around, right, of this video. Okay, so let's start here. The many places where new moons and Sabbaths are mentioned together are significant. Okay, all right, so we got that. The many places where new moons and Sabbaths are mentioned together are significant. The common Hebrew word for a month is Hadesh. Now remember, this is modern Hebrew, right? It's not ours. Okay, we don't have these vowels, all right? We didn't have the vowels, okay? The word for new moon, okay? The only month known among them was the lunar month. The only month known among them was the lunar month. Now I have to say right here that this is the author's opinion. There's no way that anybody can know this information, right? So this is when I talk about reading critically and critical thinking, this would be an example of it, okay? I'm determining if what this author is saying makes sense, or is it reasonable? Is it practical, right? Okay, just from my experience. Why from my experience? Because I believe in me, I trust me, right? I have the self-confidence to know that I matter, right? Positive self-image. So I can take what any author writes and make a judgment based upon my education and be completely comfortable with it, right? Because of the confidence, self-esteem, so on and so forth. And plus, you know, it helps when you've developed the skill of critical thinking. This is where I want to get everybody who watches this video to that point, okay? All right, let's continue. Their year was 12 lunar months or 354 days. and began with the new moon just preceding the ripening of barley. Okay, the new moon just preceding the ripening of barley. The first sheaves were carried to the altar at the Feast of Passover, which was on the first full moon of the year. When the first full moon seemed likely to come before the barley was ripe, an extra month was intercalculated. Okay, so they threw another one in there. They threw an extra one in there. The cycles of time seem to have been regulated rather by the moon than the sun. This we see was the case with their feasts and periods of sowing and reaping, with which they were intimately connected. So now we should focus careful attention on what we just read. Focus careful attention on what we just read. Okay, that is very significant. Okay. If you are wise, you will know what I'm talking about. Okay, but that's beyond this video, beyond the scope of this video. Each month was begun with the feast of the new moon. So too, the Arabs greeted the new moon before they received their Sabbath from the Syrians. Their term for this time of joy was Ahala, which is connected with the Hebrew word for festival joy. Now remember, this is modern Hebrew, okay, Hallel, showing that the greeting of the new moon was such an ancient and universal custom that the word used for that occasion became the common word for the festival rejoicing. Quoting Judges 9. We need to go back and look at that Bible verse. Let me pull up the website. What was that Bible verse? Okay, hold on, I got it. All right, here we are. Oops, hold on. I guess Carol left. All right, New Living Translation. When you enter the land the Most High your power has given you, be very careful not to imitate the detestable customs of the nations living there. Let's go back to the article. Oops. All right. Okay, so here we are. It is plain also that the full moon had a religious significance to the Hebrews. Then were celebrated the great feasts of the nation. The first full moon of the year at the beginning of the harvest was the Passover. The first full moon of the year at the beginning of the harvest was the Passover on the 14th of Abib or Nisan. Quote, I'll let you guys look at these citations for a minute, and then I'll move on. All right, so let's go to Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23:11 seems to show that the Passover was originally a Sabbath. Leviticus 23 verse 11 seems to show that the Passover was originally a Sabbath, and the offering of the sheaves followed it. In connection with the fact that the Passover was celebrated at the full of the moon, it is suggested to notice also that it was a nocturnal feast. The supper was at evening. The supper was at evening, quoting Exodus 16:12 and all of these other verses. So here, okay, Isaiah 30:29 reads, ye shall have a song in the night when a holy feast is kept. And Hosea 2:11, I will also cause her mirth to cease, her feast, her new moons, and her Sabbaths indicate that the nights following these feasts were passed in singing, mirth, and merriment. All right, we notice too that if by reason of uncleanliness. Some were prevented from participating in the feast. The substituted celebration was observed not the next week, but on the next full moon. Okay, and there's some verses cited there. Not only the harvest festival, but the vintage feast as well was celebrated at the full of the moon. The Feast of Tabernacles coming on the full moon of the 7th month. Jeroboam, when he wished to institute a feast to take the place of this at Jerusalem, chose the full moon of the 8th month. In the course of Jewish history, though the Passover and Tabernacle feasts were continued and observed at the full moon, yet their connection with the moon lost its significance, and the new moon celebration disappeared entirely. Let me read this again. In the course of Jewish history, though the Passover and Tabernacle of feasts were continued and observed at the full of the moon, yet their connection with the moon lost its significance, and the new moon celebration eventually disappeared entirely. Okay, that's saying a whole lot. We have seen already that the Babylonian Sabbath had its origin in Acadia and was probably connected with the worship of the moon. Acadia being the seat of moon worship. We now see that the Hebrew Sabbath also is intimately connected with the changes and celebrations connected with the moon, indicating that the Sabbath had originally its source in moon worship. I'll read it again. We now see that the Hebrew Sabbath also is intimately connected with the changes and celebrations connected with the moon, indicating that the Sabbath had originally its source in moon worship. So this is saying that the Sabbath, the historical origin of the Sabbath is moon worship. It remains to connect the Hebrew Sabbath with the Akkadians, and so with the Assyrian Sabbath. The means of making this connection are not lacking. So that's saying that it's connected in a lot of ways. There are many connections. That's what that's saying. We have traced the Babylonian Sabbath to at least as early a date as 1700 BC, when the Akkadian language became extinct. So the Akkadian language became extinct in 1700 BC. Okay. All right, that's how they made the connection. Okay, so we start here. We will start here. To have embodied itself in a technical and stereotyped phrases which outline the rest of the language. So this is saying that it's technically, by stereotype, they mean, I gather they mean writing style, right? Okay. So to have embodied itself in technical and stereotypical phrases which outline the rest of the language, and to have so stamped itself upon the social life of the people that it lived as an institution long after the nation was dead. The Sabbath must have been observed by the Akkadians for many centuries. There can be no reasonable doubt, let me start again. There can be no reasonable doubt, but that some sort of Sabbath was observed by them previous to 2000 BC, at about which time Terah and his family immigrated from among them. For it seems probable that the results of the latest investigations that the home of Nahor was in Acadia. All right. Was in Acadia, Kasdim of Genesis 12, Genesis chapter 11, verse 21, has been identified with Ura of the cuneiform inscriptions. So keep that in mind, Ura of the cuneiform inscriptions, okay? A place in South Babylon, okay? So that was in South Babylon. So what they're saying is that these people were in these locations who were involved in moon worship that eventually became a Sabbath celebration. Okay. This Ura, we learn from the inscriptions, was the seat. Let me highlight that. Oops, let me highlight it. Okay, y'all read along with me. This Ura, we learn from the inscriptions, was the seat of the worship of the moon deity. Let's go down to the, okay, so this is a citation. So Shaddar cuneiform inscription. So go ahead, y'all look that up if y'all want to know more about that, or if you want to check it to get confirmation. The other city mentioned in the Bible as a tarrying place of this family is Haran in Mesopotamia. This city also, we learn from the same source, was the seat of the worship of the moon god Sin, spelled S-I-N. All right, Mesopotamian center, or the seat of the worship of the moon god Sin, okay? So the first and second homes of the migrating ancestors of the Hebrews were places where the worship of the moon was especially cultivated, and where the Sabbath in a developed or germinal form was probably known. This is a very significant paragraph. So y'all go ahead and reread that again. You can pause the video when you play it back, okay? This is the last paragraph. It seems probable then, from the results of this investigation, that the Hebrew Sabbath and the weekly divisions of time is a very ancient pre-Mosaic institution, not originating with the Israelites, but brought by them from South Babylonia. Okay, now let's look at what this means. Pre-Mosaic. Let's look that up. We get a precise definition so that everybody will know what it means. Okay, we get the precise meaning. All right, so here we go. Oh, boy. Okay, I'll do my screen share now. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened, y'all? Let me close that out. I don't know what that is. How did that happen? Okay, so here we see pre-Mosaic, right? Pre-Mosaic. Okay, it's an adjective. What's the meaning? Occurring what? Before the time of Moses. So it could occur before the time of Moses. Okay. It occurred before the time of Moses. All right, that's what pre-Mosaic means. Okay. Why is that important? Because in the commandments, what do we see in the commandments? What do we see in the commandments? Everybody remember what we see in the commandments? Okay, verse 11. See, this is the problem. Is this, okay, yeah, this is Exodus chapter 20, so this is the 10 Commandments. All right, so verse 8. See, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. On the 6th day, thou shalt do no labor. And 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work. 10, but on the 7th day, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Most High your power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is in thy gates. and then verse 11, for in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Okay, so that is the end of the article. So we'll go back to Jeremiah 8:8, and we'll just do a very quick summary. Okay. We'll do a very quick summary. My favorite version of Jeremiah 8:8 is in the Amplified Bible. How can you say we are wise and the law, see, not a Bible story, the law, not a Bible story, the law. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us? Notice this, and we are learned in its language and what? Teachings. And we are learned in its language. I'm teaching Ibaryath right now. So come to class, the curses class, every Saturday, 9 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. You want to learn the language, okay? And teachings. So we're talking about teachings, right? Okay. The law, okay. How can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High is with us, and we are learned in its language and teachings? Behold, the truth is that the lying pen of the scribes has made the law into a lie. Okay. It's not me saying it. This is Jeremiah giving us a warning. Let's look at the New English translation. Okay. How can you say we are wise because we have the word of the Most High when who? When your teachers have twisted it by writing lies. How did they twist it? By writing lies. Everybody see that? By writing lies. Okay. All right. So the Berean, how can you say we are wise and the law of the Most High? See, law, not Bible study, not Bible story. Law of the Most High is with us when in fact the lying pen of the who? Scribes has produced what? A deception. So Jeremiah warns us, and our primary task, one of our primary things that we have to do is learn Ibaryath, learn the Phoenician Hebrew writing system so that we can uncover these deceptions, okay? And what you do with it, what decisions you make is up to you. My role is just to teach you the skills, teach you how to think analytically, okay? Think you how to read and write and speak the Ibaryath. But the decisions you make, that's up to you, because when you come to Zion Law School, my objective is to teach you how to translate, okay? You make your own decisions. All right, so we looked at the 10 Commandments. So let's go back. All right, let's review this again. This is the 10 Commandments again, Exodus chapter 20, verse 3. You shall have no power before me. 5. Thou shalt not bow down to them nor serve them. Okay, now let's do one more review. Let's go back to the redemption. Okay, we go back to the redemption clause. We go back to redemption. Oops, I want 3. Well, better yet, you know what? Let's just go into I don't care. We're going to KJV. Okay, it doesn't matter. All right, so we'll read the first few verses. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 3, verses, the first couple verses. And it shall come to pass when all these things come upon thee, the blessings and the curses which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Most High your power has driven thee, and shall return to the Most High thy power, and shall obey his voice according to all I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thine soul. 3, see, that was a condition. That then, so if you return to the Most High, then, this is an if-then statement, okay? That then the Most High thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Most High thy power has scattered thee. Now, that is very, for me, convoluted. Let's read it in modern English. Okay, so this is the New International Version. All right, so verse 1, it reads, when all these blessings and curses I have set before you come on you and overtake you, take them to heart. Let me start that again. We'll start here. When all these blessings and curses I have set before you come on you, and you take them to heart, wherever the Most High your power disperses you among the nations. See, what we're doing right now, we're learning about the blessings and the curses, right? We're learning about our heritage. Okay, so now you have this information about this, about the Sabbath. You have it. You got to act on it, right? What are you going to do with it? What decisions are you going to make? Okay, whatever you do is up to you, right? Based upon your thought process. 2, and when you and your children return to the Most High your power and obey him with all your heart and all your soul, what does that mean in English? What does that actually mean? It means when you return to the Most High with sincerity, without hypocrisy, okay? Without hypocrisy, with sincerity, okay? That's all that's required, sincerity, no hypocrisy, that's it, okay? And when you and your children return to the Most High, your power, and obey him with all your heart and all your soul, or with what? Complete sincerity, with no hypocrisy, according to everything I command you today. Who? Moses, right? Timestamp today, Moses, instructions given to Moses. 3, then the Most High, see, if you return, then, if-then statement. 3, then the Most High, your power, will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you and gather you again from all the nations where he scattered you. Even if you have been banished to the most distant land under the heavens, from there the Most High will gather you and bring you back. Bring you back where? To your own land. Verse 5. He will bring you to the land that belonged to your ancestors, and you will take possession of it. He will make you more prosperous. This is riches, y'all. That's material wealth. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. We will be richer even than David's and Solomon's kingdom. Material wealth, okay? Material wealth, not some relationship or feeling. Material wealth is what the Most High is offering us. Verse 6, the Most High will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants so that you will love him with all your heart and with all your soul and live. In other words, he's going to put it on autopilot for us to be able to follow his instructions. It'll be easy for us. It'll be automatic. Okay. And then 7, this is where you get real justice. Okay. The Most High will put all these curses on your enemies who hate and persecute you. Okay. So this is the only way that's going to happen. It's written right here in the contract. We need to return. Okay. We get this abundant, extreme material wealth, and then the Most High is going to put judgment. He's going to give us justice by putting all the curses that we suffered on the people who hate us and persecute us. So we can do something to help ourselves now. We have the power to improve our situation now. All we need to do is follow the Most High's instructions. That is it. But to follow those instructions, we need first to learn what they are. And then we need what? We need to stop following the customs of the nations. Okay? The only way you can do that is through study. You cannot trust anybody. Okay? These records have been used to oppress us, to enslave us, okay, to keep us down and confused. So you need to take personal responsibility to learn Ibaryath yourself. Teach your children, just like it's telling us, right? And then learn Deuteronomy chapter 28, the blessings and the curses. Master it. Only way to do that is by learning Ibaryath. That is the absolute only way to do it. Learn your language. And in the process of learning your language, you're also what? You're recovering your heritage. You're moving back to alignment with the Most High, right? That's what you're doing. And through this process of discovery, you make a decision to return to the Most High by following all of his instructions. And when we reach that climactic point where the Most High says, okay, it's time, he's going to do what? He's going to take us back in our land. He's going to give us extreme wealth. Here it is right here. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors, right? He's going to make it easy for us to follow his instructions. And then he's going to put the revenge on those people who hate us, who harmed us, and who persecute us, right? He's going to put the curses on them. And you know how we suffer. So you can just imagine what justice will look like once we get ourselves together and stop focusing on these curses and focus on the blessings so that we can return to the Most High. But it all starts with learning Deuteronomy chapter 28. So I've written 3 volumes. There are 3 books, the I Can Read Deuteronomy chapter 28 series, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. That gives you a word for word breakdown or examination and evaluation of every word, every single word, phrase, and sentence in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 29. That's 3 volumes so far, okay? Now, I'm working on the other ones. It'll be two or three more volumes, and I'll have that same thing for the entire chapter of Deuteronomy 28. At the same thing for the 10 Commandments, which is the Phoenician Hebrew 101 book, the Phoenician Hebrew 101 book. That's a word for word breakdown, examination, evaluation of every word in Exodus chapter 20, the 10 Commandments, okay? So, but you should come to class every Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You get 2 free classes. It was 4 free. It was 4 free. Then it was 3 free. Now it's 2 free. So come get it while you can get it free. If you want to stay, stay. If you don't want to stay, go. Okay. But you have absolutely no risk, nothing to lose, no reason not to show up. Okay. Now that's between you and the Most High. You have opportunity to learn your language, learn these documents, what the Most High said, in a way that doesn't cost you anything. If you reject it, that's between you and the Most High, okay? I'm doing the best I can. Verse 8, you will again obey the Most High, your power, and follow all his commands I am giving you today. See, we're going to do everything he told Moses to tell us to do. This is the contract, the covenant, all right? Verse 9, then the Most High will make you most prosperous in all the work of your hands and the fruit of your womb. So in other words, everything you touch will turn to gold. Everything you touch will be an extreme success, but you got to work, right? No more birth defects, no more nothing, no more stillborn babies, right? All babies will come out genetically perfect, okay? The young of your livestock, so on and so forth. But notice this verse, y'all. This is extremely important. Notice what it says. The Most High again will delight. That means he'll be happy. The Most High will again delight in you and make you prosperous. Now, this is the third time. This is the third time he's told us what? He's going to give us extreme material wealth, right? This is the third time he said it. You say something twice, that's for emphasis. If you say it 3 times, that's emphasis and emphasis, right? Extreme material wealth. Now, everybody likes material things, okay? Don't deny it. We all want to live a luxurious lifestyle. We all want to. That's why people go to work every day, right? Most High says he's going to give it to us in the extreme. The Most High will delight in you and make you prosperous, just as he delighted in your ancestors, if you obey the Most High and keep his commandments and decrees that are written in the book of the law. See, it says that are written in the book of the law. It doesn't say some other book. All of this is contingent or depends on us following what the Most High told Moses. Verse 10, I'm going to read it again. If you obey the Most High and keep his commands and decrees that are written in the book of the law, not another book, the book of the law. Y'all think about that. Think about that. Redemption is based upon us doing everything the Most High instructed Moses to instruct us to do. Those commandments are written in the book of the law. There is no mention of any other book or contract here, none whatsoever. Okay, so y'all do with that what y'all want to do with it. Okay, and turn to the Most High your power with all your heart and with all your soul. And then finally, I'll cap it off with this. This is the subheading, the offer of life and death. Verse 11, Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 11. Now what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you. So the Most High is saying that doing everything he commanded in the book of the law is not too difficult. So that means that every pastor, every rabbi, every imam, every general, every captain, every officer, every whomever who has ever said that the law is too difficult, you cannot keep it. Well, we see here that they're saying something that that completely contradicts what the Most High said, right? The Most High said, now what I am commanding you today, where? In the book of the law. Who gave the book of the law? Moses. Now what I'm commanding you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. And I'm going to wrap it up right there. I hope you all enjoyed this. Share it with other people. And let's be good to each other. If you want to support my work, I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. If you want to support my work, you can order books. You can order my books. You can enroll in the Deuteronomy Chapter 28 class. All my books are on my website, or you can make donations. One of my goals, I'll address it in another video. So let's be good to each other, y'all. Like and share the video, please. Give these articles that I've read on these 3 Sabbath videos, give them some serious thought, and you know, do whatever you're going to do with them. And let's return to the Most High so we can get these extreme riches and extreme blessings, okay? Let's shift our mind from off of the curses. We live the curses every day. We've been going through it for generations every day. It's time for us to take positive action toward improving ourselves. Return to the Most High by following his instructions. The only way to do that is to learn Deuteronomy chapter 28. We just read that, okay? And then, of course, once we learn, we start to act, okay? Action means we have to stop doing certain things, right? Especially those things that involve venerating or worshiping these deities, these powers. Okay, with that said, I'm Dr. Yasapa. I hope to see you every Saturday, 9 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time for the Curses course. Support me if you like the work that I'm doing. Buy my books, okay? Help me keep this going because there's so much more that I want to do that I'm in the process of bringing to us. For example, as a matter of fact, while I'm here, let me show y'all. Let me show you my newest book. It's on my website, zionlawschool.org. Okay. This is a Ibaryath verbal root word dictionary. This is a real big deal for us in terms of returning to our heritage. This is evidence that our heritage is being returned to us, okay? Because in order for us to be a people, we have to have a language, okay? In the past, we did not have any verbal roots, but I put this book together. I completed it a couple of days ago. It has 1,639 verbal roots. To my knowledge, this is all the verbal roots in the Hebrew scriptures. Okay, so now you can begin to develop your vocabulary. You can begin to develop your vocabulary. Okay, now, some people say this is a high price, right? But it's not a high price because the value that you get. Okay, the value that you get and the amount of time and effort and work and sweat. And this was a very difficult project. Okay, but what you're going to get out of this is 1,639 verbal roots. This is the basis for learning the language. Okay, you need a vocabulary. Let me read this to you. Okay, well, better yet, let me show you this. So I would like for you, if you're going to order this, I hope you order it. Tell your friends to order. Matter of fact, order multiple copies and give them to your friends and family. And if you order multiple copies, I give you a volume discount. Okay, let's say if you order 10 or more copies or so, I give you a discount, a good discount. Let me show you this on Amazon so I can open it up and you can see inside the book. So you can see what it is that you're getting, right? Because this is a big deal for us, y'all. A real big deal for us. As far as I know, this is the first book of its kind, okay? It's the first book of its kind that we put together. So here it is right here on Amazon. I want to show you inside, okay? But first I'm gonna read this. Okay, to read the Hebrew scriptures, readers only need to learn 700 or so verbal roots. This little book contains a massive 1,639 ancient Hebrew and Aramaic verbal roots, verbal root entries, or 2.3 times more than required, that is required to read, okay, the Hebrew scriptures. Another game changer this lexicon brings to you is that the root words are easy to locate. And I'm going to show you this. It's not like the other lexicons where you can't find anything, right? The definitions are succinct, thorough, and easy to understand. Another game changer about this lexicon is that the root entries are written in the Paleo Phoenician Hebrew script and are free from ink smudges and other artifacts that make so many other lexicons too difficult or even impossible to read. Okay, so I mean, this is an amazing book. Everybody should have this book in their library. Okay, and it's small enough for you to be able to fit it in your handbag or your backpack. No prior Hebrew language is required to use this lexicon. The other lexicons, you need to be taught by a professor how to use it, okay? Because they're designed so that you cannot use it because they hide this information from common people and especially us. It is excellent for students, teachers, and researchers. To the author's knowledge, this is the first lexicon of its kind, and we are proud to bless you with it. The title is the Dr. Yasapa Yakana Ibaryath Aramaic and English Verbal Roots Lexicon. So now let's look inside. Let's look inside so y'all can see. So this is the source where I get my words for the Ibaryath word of the day. I'm getting them out of this book. Okay, so that's me, y'all. That's me. Those other books were my other books. So you see the table of contents, the biblical Ibaryath is organized by what? Pictograph or by ABCs, like an English dictionary, right? It's organized by the pictographs or ABCs like an English dictionary. So anybody can use this. Okay, it's easy. See that? See, there's your I pictograph, and look at all these words, right? Very easy, no ink smudges. You can read every word. Okay, it's easy to look words up because what? It's organized like an English dictionary. Here's your I, so all your I words, right? Alphabetical order, very easy. Okay, so some of y'all might recognize, this was a verbal root I did today, abaya, entreat. I did this today. Okay, abaya, entreat. This is a small book. You can fit it in your handbag or your purse. If you are a teacher, let's say a general, a captain, officer, a woman teaching her child, husband teaching her family, this is the perfect book for you. It makes a perfect gift. And this is what we need in order to be able to return to the Most High. So if you get the 10 Commandments, if you get the 3, I can read Deuteronomy chapter 28 books, okay, and then this book, you have everything. You have the contract and you have the basis of the language, which is the verbal roots. You have everything. All right, with that said, I'm Dr. Yasapa. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I'll see everyone soon. Jerice Tellis, thanks so much. Jerice Tellis says, yeah, I'll be getting the book. I appreciate that. Brandon Shalawama, why you didn't come into class, Brandon? You should have came into the class. We could have talked, you know, chit chat and everything, and went through this whole process. Next time, come into the class. All right, so everybody's welcome to come into the class when we do these type of readings, and even when we do the Bible reading. So we're doing Numbers chapter 1 Bible reading. Anybody can come into the class and share the Bible reading. All right, so I hope, did y'all learn something? I hope y'all learned something and you have enough information. Shalom, Barbara, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope everybody learned a lot and you're able to make better decisions as a result of us going through this article. And I appreciate that because these articles are not easy to go through. So for you all to demonstrate the discipline and interest to do this, I'm honored. Okay, so that said, I'm Dr. Yasapa, and I'll see y'all on the next video.